Welcome to the CFO Corner. I'm your host, Nick Ezzo. In the CFO Corner, we sit down with CFOs and corporate finance professionals to hear about the innovative approaches and technology they use to scale and grow their organizations. They share the challenges they're facing with mundane, repetitive tasks, and they give their takes on what they'd like to see in the corporate finance functions that can help CFOs achieve a stress-free working life. With me today is Ruchi Kasliwal, Head of Finance and Operations at Novo Insurance. Ruchi has extensive experience scaling finance from zero to IPO and beyond. Welcome, Ruchi.
Thank you, Nick.
So
Pleasure to be here.
great to have you. So before we get started really with the questions, can you tell me a little bit about Novo Insurance and Telenav, your parent organization?
Sure. So Telenav has been in the business of navigation software for over 20 years. All the navigation software that's embedded in cars like GM cars, Ford, and Toyota, that software is all provided by Telenav. What Novo is a little bit of pivot in the direction of consumer-based industry. So with our technology and getting driving data, we decided to pivot into insurance and provide insurtech. What we do in Novo is we provide auto insurance codes based on your driving behavior. So if you're a great driver, you get very cheap quotes. And if you are not so great driver, you'll get an expensive one, but we'll be right along with you to guide you to become a better driver.
Oh, that's excellent. If you ask my family, they don't think I'm a very good driver, but that's irrelevant. So tell me about your role. You got a very interesting title as Head of Finance and Operations at Novo Insurance. What does that entail?
So yeah, we launched this company about a year and a half ago, and I got promoted from my original role at Telenav and was chartered to run finance and operations. Now, in my role, I'm not just responsible for accounting, FP&A, and reporting, but I'm also responsible for systems and systems integrations and streamlining processes. That's where the operational aspect comes in. Like, how do we make the company more operationally efficient so that we can scale for growth?
So you work for the CFO, you support the CFO. In your perspective, over the last 5 or 10 years, how has the role of the CFO changed and evolved?
I would say the CFO role has changed quite a lot, especially with so much technology coming in. CFO org is no longer just being counter, which was the traditional role what CFOs used to do, right? Nowadays, I see CFOs being the business partner, not just for the CEO, but also for the wider organization. They are there to help streamline processes, to scale processes, to find technology that works well with their internal systems. So it's more about business partnering and being the strategic leader for the organization.
Excellent. So where do you see the role heading in the next 5 or 10 years?
It's going into a great direction. Like, nowadays CFOs are very tech savvy, which is amazing because I myself believe that it's not the quantity, but the quality of teams that you lead. And if you provide the right tools and resources to your team, they can do wonders. Like it's no longer, oh, back office GL function, GNA, who's not, it's a thankless job if you think about it. But with the technology and with how much more we can add value to the organization, it's changed its course quite a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that, CFOs used to be backward looking, looking out the back of the boat. And now they're expected
Yeah.
by the board and the CEO to be looking out the front of the boat and helping to guide and steer the business. So on that vein, what are the expectations of the CFO, the CEO and the board, and what do they expect from the accounting team and the CFO specifically?
So I'll split it in two different areas. One is definitely accounting, which is managing your core business and the financials. But the other area is the strategic planning. So from an accounting perspective, you absolutely have to close your books on time, make sure the right controls are in place, you have the right approvals for things, you have the right processes and policies. And on the FP&A and strategic planning is you're showing the board and the CEO what can happen for the company. What are the different scenarios you can play out for the company? Where can you help the company? In which direction do you go into? So, part of GTM strategy alignment, right? Growth alignment, market alignment. This is where the CFO role has come about quite a lot in the recent years.
So that sounds like a big task, a lot of responsibility there. And when you and I spoke earlier, you mentioned something called burnout. So CFO burnout and burnout of the accounting team in general. How does your company, or how should people be thinking about mitigating burnout among the CFO and the finance team?
Absolutely. I think this is one topic which is not widely addressed by organizations, especially for the CFO org. Like, we hear about engineering burnout, product burnout, but we also need to look within our companies and see how is the support function doing. They still have to go through the invoices, even if you are making 2 million, 200 million, or 200,000, they still have to do all those things. So a few things that I like to do, and I would encourage other CFOs to do, is to look back, look internally within your orgs and identify the burnout. Bring in people and resources and tools that help eliminate these, like, automate the mundane tasks. Don't make it too hard on your PPAR guys that they have to have every single thing correct. Try to be more empathetic towards these people, because we don't recognize the finance org as much as we should be. And this is the main reason why they go into burnout. Like, one of the talks I did, one of the things I would love to do in my org is have a CFO team offsite. Let them put everything on their desk, come out of their normal day-to-day activities, and come spend time with other coworkers within the finance org. Learn how they are dealing with something. Learn what can be help you collaborate. These are things which we don't see more often in the CFO side. So
Yeah,
very important to address that.
yeah, I've often thought that the finance team and the accounting team is one of those roles in the organization. And there's a few of them where you don't want to be noticed, and because if you
Yeah,
are noticed, then it means you've messed something up dramatically. So
exactly.
yeah, so it's a high wire, like tightrope walk every single day for that team. So given that, if you could magically solve one problem in finance and accounting, you could wave your magic wand, Ruchi, what would you solve?
I would say eliminate the mundane tasks. Like, these are things that we have so much automation out there, RPAs out there. Just eliminate data entry of invoices, cash collection, GL reconciliations, or simple modeling, right? Repetitive reporting. If we can eliminate these tasks, the value that these people will bring in by bringing on and adding on their strategic hat or thinking hat is tremendous. So if it was for me, I would eliminate all mundane tasks.
So you mentioned some of the mundane tasks of data entry and reconciliation and things like that. What are the areas? What specific tasks do you think could be automated today, or should be automated today?
The invoice receipt from an AP side, receipt of invoice, matching it up with the POs, getting approvals. These are things a system can easily do, right? If you have an AP mailbox, identifying the vendor, identifying the amounts, matching it up with the PO, eliminate those things. You don't need a person to monitor that mailbox day in, day out. Just imagine, like, today, if you have 20 vendors, tomorrow, if you have 200 vendors, the first thing everybody thinks is, oh, I need more headcount. So step back, think of things that you can eliminate, and instead of getting that headcount, get a tool that's going to help you. Because if your company is growing, and I hope it's growing tremendously, you would want those 200 vendors to turn into 2,000 vendors. You can just keep adding headcount. There's a cost to headcount, training cost, there's a lot of overhead. So think of things that you can solve by automating simple tasks. That's one thing I would definitely encourage people to do.
Well, you're speaking my language. I love that answer. So so if we take those routine mundane tasks and give them to the automation, doesn't that mean that robots are going to take away accounting jobs?
Not really. Like this is still data entry, right? You still need human brain to analyze the data that's going in. Are we paying some customers very fast? Could we come up with some negotiating tactics that we have so much volume with you? What can we do? These are things where you need people to come in and do that analysis and ultimately help the company save money. On the AR side, we can look at how fast are we getting the money in? How is our cash application working? Like, this is all about cash forecasting. Using these tools and reports, you can do better cash forecasting. And taking it one more step ahead, if you have good cash forecasting, you can do better investments. You right away get more revenue, more investment income that you can add to your portfolio. So there are lots of things that people can still do by eliminating the mundane task, and they still have the brain power to do other better things.
Yeah, and I think that to your point about burnout, it could actually help alleviate some of that burnout.
Absolutely. They'll be more excited to be in the APAR team, right? Because now they're not just doing data entry, they're actually adding value. Because of them, we're able to make investments. Show it to them that way. Show the value that they add.
All right. Well, this has been a wonderful interview. Thanks so much for spending the time with me today. I'd like to thank, on behalf of Auditoria and the rest of the team, I'd like to thank Ruchi Kasliwal, the head of finance and operation at Novo Insurance. Thank you so much, Ruchi, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Nick. It's a pleasure.